Have you ever felt something shift inside you but couldn't quite name it? Maybe it's a sudden tiredness that coffee won't fix, or a strange itch that wakes you up at 3 a.m. If you're over 60, these quiet signals might not just be part of getting older. They could be your liver, speaking softly before it starts to scream. I was 71 when it started for me. I remember walking into the kitchen one morning and feeling like I hadn't slept at all even though I'd gone to bed at 9. I chalked it up to stress, then to age. It took me a whole year to realize the issue wasn't my sleep or my schedule. It was my liver. And by the time I got help, things had already progressed. The liver is a quiet organ. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't swell. It doesn't send out flares like a bad knee or a sore back. But once it starts breaking down, everything else follows: your energy, your skin, even your memory. And that's why I'm here today, not as a doctor, but as someone who's lived through this. Someone who's seen friends ignore the signs and pay the price. And someone who believes that elderly wisdom isn't just about stories, it's about warnings we pass on to the next person in line. So today, I want to walk you through 6 silent symptoms of liver trouble that most seniors miss. By the time you get to number 3 and 5, you'll understand why these quiet signs matter more than we think. 1. Unexplained itching, especially at night. The first time it happened, I thought maybe a mosquito got into my room. Just a little itch behind my knee. But the next night, it was my arms, then my back, then my feet. No rash, no bumps, just this prickling discomfort that wouldn't let me sleep. At 72, I switched soaps, changed laundry detergents. I even started wearing gloves to bed, thinking it might be nerves. But it wasn't nerves. It was my liver. Most people don't know this, but one of the earliest signs of liver dysfunction, especially bile duct blockage or inflammation, is chronic itching without visible cause, known as pruritus. It's often worse at night because bile salts build up in your blood when your liver can't properly process and flush them out. The American Liver Foundation explains that this itching isn't superficial, it's biochemical, and it tends to appear before any other obvious symptoms. I remember Harold, a fellow resident from the senior community I lived in for a while. He was a tough old World War II vet, didn't complain about much. But one night at 3 a.m., I saw him walking the hall, scratching his forearm raw. "It's been like this for weeks," he whispered. A few weeks later, blood tests revealed he had early-stage primary biliary cholangitis, an autoimmune liver disease. He started treatment, and the itching lessened. But his story stuck with me. So, if you're over 60 and find yourself itching for no clear reason, especially at night, don't brush it off. It's not just dry skin. It could be your liver trying to tell you something. 2. Sudden, deep fatigue that feels different. Now let's talk about tiredness, not the kind you get after gardening too long or walking the dog. I'm talking about bone-deep exhaustion that makes climbing stairs feel like Everest, or folding laundry feel like a marathon. After 70, many seniors chalk this up to just aging. But that's a dangerous assumption. Fatigue is one of the most commonly overlooked symptoms of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, NAFLD, which affects nearly 1 in 3 seniors in developed countries. The liver plays a vital role in energy metabolism. When it starts to falter even slightly, it drains the body like a leaky battery. A 2020 study in hepatology communications showed that mild liver inflammation can cause a 2,535% decrease in perceived energy levels among adults over 65, even before other symptoms appear. I'll never forget Edna, 75, a former librarian who used to read to children every Saturday at our community library. One day, she told me she had to stop, just too tired to sit upright for that long. She hadn't changed her routine. Her diet was the same, but a simple liver panel showed high ALT and AST enzymes, With some changes, cutting sugar, increasing activity, adding supplements, she bounced back in a few months. It wasn't just exhaustion, she told me. It was a warning. Fatigue in your 60s, 70s, or beyond doesn't have to be normal. If your tiredness feels unfamiliar, persistent, or just plain 3. Itchy palms and soles that get worse at night. I didn't think much of it at first. Just an itch on my palms and the bottoms of my feet. Maybe a new soap, I thought. Maybe dry skin. But then it got worse, especially at night. I'd lie in bed, rubbing my hands together, restless. I couldn't sleep. I'd wake up scratching without realizing it. Turns out this isn't just a random nuisance. When your liver starts to have trouble processing bile, it causes a buildup of bile salts in the bloodstream. These salts tend to collect under the skin and trigger an intense itching sensation, most commonly in the palms and soles. A study from the British Journal of Dermatology found that nearly 20% of older adults with chronic liver disease experienced this symptom before any other sign showed up. And the most frustrating part? There's often no rash, no redness, just the kind of itch that keeps you awake at 2 a.m. My friend Gerald, who lives in the same retirement complex, used to say his palms itched so bad he'd run them under cold water in the middle of the night. I thought it was just nerves, he said. But after a checkup, his doctor found early signs of primary biliary cholangitis. That small symptom helped catch something far more serious just in time. So if you're over 60 and find yourself scratching without reason, especially at night, don't ignore it. It's not just dry skin. It could be your liver's quiet way of asking for 4. Unexplained fatigue that feels deeper than tiredness. You know that kind of tired that doesn't go away with sleep? That bone-deep fatigue that creeps in even after a quiet morning or a long afternoon nap? That's what I'm talking about. When your liver isn't functioning properly, it stops filtering toxins efficiently. And those toxins? They stay in your bloodstream longer, making your whole body work harder just to keep up. This creates a kind of chronic exhaustion that feels more like a fog than tiredness. There was a study published by the Journal of Hepatology that followed seniors with non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. More than 40% of them reported persistent fatigue as their most noticeable symptom, even before any changes in their blood tests showed up. Take Rose, 74, from church choir. She used to lead the alto section, full of energy and laughter. Then she started skipping rehearsals, said she felt drained all the time. Her family thought it was just aging, but a routine checkup revealed elevated liver enzymes and eventually early-stage cirrhosis. They caught it early enough to reverse some of the damage, but only because she spoke up about her fatigue. So if you feel like your energy's been stolen and nothing brings it back, don't chalk it up to getting older. Ask your doctor for a liver function test. Sometimes fatigue is not just about age. It's about what your body is carrying inside. And if you've experienced something like this, drop a comment below. You never know who your story might help. 5. Easy bruising or bleeding that wasn't there before I first noticed it when I bumped my hand lightly against the doorframe. Just a tap. But the next morning, there was a dark bruise spreading across my wrist. A week later, I nicked my leg while shaving and it bled for almost 10 minutes. That had never happened before. As we age, sure, our skin gets thinner. But when your liver isn't producing enough of the proteins that help your blood clot, even small injuries can leave bigger marks. This is one of the more overlooked signs of liver dysfunction, especially in older adults. Research from the American Liver Foundation shows that clotting issues become more common in seniors with even mild liver impairment, because the liver is responsible for creating most of the body's clotting factors. If it's under stress or damaged, your ability to heal from even minor cuts takes a hit. My neighbor Alan, who's 81, had this happen after a gardening accident. A rose thorn pricked his hand, and it bled all afternoon. His doctor sent him for a full panel. Sure enough, his clotting factors were low due to liver stress caused by years of over-the-counter pain meds. So the next time you see a strange bruise or a cut takes too long to stop bleeding, don't just grab a bandage. Grab a calendar, note it down, and talk to your physician. Your skin may be talking, but your liver might be behind the message. And while we're here, if this content speaks to you, share it with someone you love, especially if they're over 60, because these signs can be missed, but together, we can keep each other safer. 6. Yellowing eyes or skin, even just a slight tint. This one's subtle. It doesn't scream at you, it whispers. I remember catching my reflection in the mirror one morning. The whites of my eyes, they weren't so white anymore. They looked tired, slightly yellow. I thought it was just bad lighting or the color of the lamp, but it wasn't. That faint yellowing, also known as jaundice, is a red flag. It means your liver might not be breaking down bilirubin properly, a waste product your body produces during normal cell turnover. When bilirubin builds up in your blood, it starts to tint your eyes and skin. According to the Mayo Clinic, jaundice in older adults, especially when it appears slowly and without pain, can signal everything from blocked bile ducts to liver inflammation or even early-stage liver cancer. I met a man named David at a community center, 76 years old, retired postal worker. He mentioned his grandkids had asked why his eyes looked like grandma's tea. He shrugged it off at first, but a few weeks later, blood work revealed dangerously high bilirubin levels. Thankfully, they caught it early. If you notice a yellow tint in your eyes or skin, even if it's just a shade off, don't ignore it. Lighting doesn't lie that often. And in cases like this, your liver could be trying to speak before it's too late. Let me say this again. If something about your body feels off, trust your gut and see your doctor. You are not overreacting. You are being wise. So now we've walked through them. 6 quiet warnings. 6 whispers from your liver. They don't always show up with pain. They don't come with alarms or sirens, but they matter. And after 60, they matter more than ever. Because the truth is, aging doesn't mean giving up control. It means learning to listen closer, to notice the details, and to act with intention. If you've noticed any of these signs, don't panic. Don't self-diagnose either, but do pay attention. Do ask questions. Do advocate for yourself or for someone you love, because your health story isn't finished yet. I always say this: we may grow older, but we don't grow powerless. And that's part of tranquility wisdom, learning to face these changes with calm strength, with curiosity, and with care. If this video helped you in any way, share it with someone over 60, someone who deserves to know the truth about their body before it becomes an emergency. And if you want to keep learning like this about aging well, about facing fears, about wisdom earned over time, subscribe to this channel. Each week, I share not just science, but stories. Stories like yours and mine. So here's to paying attention, to asking better questions, and to growing older with eyes wide open. See you next time.